Hello, hello. You're listening to the Goggler podcast. Ian, Bahir, and Uma with you, coming to you in a week that feels like it's decades long because Benifer back together officially.
That's why it feels decades long.
I mean, well, also because we're still stuck in lockdown for the foreseeable future. So we're still doing this, trying not to go slightly crazy. Um,
I thought it was just me who had the long week because I was limping everywhere because I ran into something last week, and then I had to limp around the stadium to get my Sinovac jab, and then I've been working that off, and I've been trying to figure out how to get streaming properly working.
but hey, double vaxxed, so woohoo!
So far, it's only Bahir who's left to get the second vax, right?
Yeah, I've got the second one coming end of August 24th.
Eat.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, so
and then
that
and then we'd be
be
100% vaccinated over here at Goggler.
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I want my ticket to a Paradise Island, and I want to go to the bar, and I want to watch live. I realized as I was leaving the stadium that as I walked past the porta potties, that was the closest I'd been to a concert in 2 years.
Right? You know what? Concerts are too much of a pipe dream right now. All I want to do is eat at a restaurant. That's all I want to do. I just want to sit down, eat somewhere, and not have to fucking wash up afterwards.
That's true. Yeah.
That shouldn't be so much to ask, because God knows the washing up never ends. All right, we've got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about two movies, Blood Red Sky and The Last Mercenary.
We're not going to be talking about the
If
second one.
I was just going to say, if you are watching this live stream, you will not get to hear the review for The Last Mercenary because we're still under embargo. So you'll have to download the podcast for that. See, we're teasing. We're
Yeah.
teasing.
Good call, good call.
But
But if you look in the app, there should be a thing to click on that jumps you straight through it if you've already seen all this. Or you could just listen to us again. That'd be great.
which is a really fun thing to do anyway. But first, we're going to kick things off with a couple of trailers that we really want to talk about: Ghostbusters Afterlife and Lamb. We'll start with Afterlife. We've been waiting for this movie for about 18 months. It's been delayed because of the pandemic, but we saw the first trailer a year and a half ago, and we finally got. I guess that was a teaser of sorts, and we finally
Yeah.
got a little more of a full trailer. We still don't know much about the story or what's happening. It's
We
not
don't?
very. I mean, as in, they haven't told us much more than what the first trailer told us. Like, Egon left an old farm to the family. They've moved to this small town in Oklahoma. Things happen. Ghosts. They discover the Ecto One.
And I just want to jump in and just say
Paul
that
Rudd.
after, yeah, but I would just want to say that after that first teaser slash trailer thing that we saw, I was a little worried about how they were going to make the story work because, like the first trailer just made it look as if, there have been no ghosts for 20, 30 years, but now suddenly
Right.
these kids have got come here. Now suddenly they're new ghosts. It's just like it feels like a really lame excuse to suddenly have ghosts. But I think it was something Ian mentioned that really sort of made it click. Because even after seeing this trailer, this most recent trailer, it didn't quite click to me how they were going to bring the ghosts in there. And then Ian mentioned something, and then it was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I like that. I like that the reappearance of these ghosts make some sense.
You're going to tell the listeners what that was?
Oh no, I'm gonna let you do it, man, because you brought it up. I don't want to take your thunder.
Well, I mean, they had to do that with the previous movies. At Ghostbusters 2, there was the whole thing that they were seen as fakers and charlatans because once they got rid of Gozer the Gozerian, it stopped being a business, right? There wasn't enough ghosts. It was Gozer's coming that kind of had precipitated all this stuff.
Correct.
With this and Egon passing away, did you notice the town's called Somerville? Although, is there maybe an extra M in there? Is it Sumerville? Just to tie back to Sumeria. But yeah,
Ooh.
I think that they have to. I saw someone on Twitter talking about how would kids not know if ghosts were real? But the thing is, this was localized in the 80s to New York, and then again maybe was 89. I think was it the second one, 90. So we live the internet. Things don't spread. The kids wouldn't
It's
know about
pre-Twitter,
it. Yeah. But Egon would realize he has all this parapsychology. Was it parapsychology? ghost energy that he has to store somewhere. We had the containment unit. We had all those episodes of the real Ghostbusters where they went inside the containment unit, all that kind of stuff. You can't just leave that lying around. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the diagrams where they were trying to decide what to build for nuclear waste, because in case it's going to be for thousands of years, so in case language changes or different life forms take over, what would you do? How would you design a building or a thing that says, "Don't come here, go away"? And
this is bad.
That's what this is, I reckon. He's put a containment center somewhere. I hope it's not the kids that setting it loose. You know, they drop something in that mine shaft and accidentally knock it out. I hope it's something's happened and that's what's causing it. Because that ties into what we're seeing from the ghosts of Ghostbusters past, right? We've got the terror dogs.
Yeah, and that's what happens in Ghostbusters 2 as well, right? Vigo kind of reinvigorates the river of slime at the bottom of New York City.
Yeah, but New York always had that attitude, slime.
Right, exactly. Feeding off everyone's negative energy, and it kind of gave rise to this new evil. And so...
But Vigo!
Vigo, yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with this version, but it feels like I didn't have a big problem with the reboot. I enjoyed it.
Answer the Call, as it's called now, right? Or is it called that in UK only?
I don't know what it's called.
Answer the Call?
Yeah, do you remember
it's
that?
on all the posters, but I don't know if it's an official name change.
I saw someone refer to it. I think it's one of those things with UK, the same way the Avengers had to be assembled.
Marvel's The Avengers? Or
Assembled, yeah. So I think there was Answer the Call was what it called in the UK. Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Because they answered the call.
Yeah, and for me it was what it was. It just... I felt the misstep was trying to do a reboot without acknowledging that the Ghostbusters existed, right?
Especially when you have them in it. When you actually got them and it was as other characters, this is pointless.
Feels like a waste. Yeah. And I think this movie counters that problem. Even if you want to set your own path, just like what Kevin Smith did with Masters of the Universe, he clearly has his own vision for what was going on. He nevertheless pays homage and acknowledges the existence of this thing that came before. And I think that would have made that movie a better one, instead of pretending like, oh, this is a whole new thing in an alternate universe, last dimension.
I don't know if it would have made it a better one for me, but I think I would have been okay with it had it acknowledged the past. I think like Ian mentioned, it's weird to have these guys on set, to have access to them, to bring them as characters, and then just say, nope, these are just a wink, wink, nod, nod for the audience. Ignore them. Their names are not the same. And I just felt like that was a bad, stupid decision. It wasn't even a misstep.
And this trailer was good in the sense where I felt it didn't give too much away, but it gave me just enough. Like it was, for me, it was such a delight seeing Janine again.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even seen that actress in such a long time. And just seeing her for those brief few seconds, I was like, oh, I'm already into this. I have to say though, if you watch the international trailer, which is the Malaysian version, I guess the one they push outside of the US, we don't get the tag that is in the US trailer.
Really?
So the international trailer uses the tag of Paul Rudd at the supermarket with the mini Marshmallow Man. And I don't know if that's just because America feels, oh, no one's going to know whose voice this is, so we're going to give them something cutesy instead.
That's bizarre.
Which is very bizarre and weird. But so if you watch the trailer, you hear Aykroyd at the end, right? We're close.
Because that was what really gave me the goosebumps. I mean, I was on board. I was excited as shit up to that point. But then when you hear their voice, your the hair on your arm stand on end, right? And I think that was the real kicker.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, despite the googly eyes that Janine was throwing at Egon in the first movie, so are we assuming Janine is not their mom?
No, not grandma, right? Yeah, I don't know.
They kind of dance around that.
Well, they got together in movie 2, didn't they?
Did they actually get
the
together?
Whole making out, or did they? Oh no, did she get together with Rick Moranis?
Maybe.
Yes, when they're looking after the baby, when the baby's sitting.
Baby.
I forgot about that. Yeah. There you go. But it's been a long time since I've seen 2. I see 1 on a regular basis.
I think that's important. I saw some other people our age complaining on Twitter about how they they looked. No, but there are people I enjoy. They're usually not. They're not morons. They enjoyed answer the call. They were looking back at it in retrospect, saying it was probably better than it was. It probably would have been better if they'd gone the whole hog into what Paul Feig wanted to do and actually left in the Chris Hemsworth dance scene that it
Right.
seemed to be set up for and everything was ready for. There's a
Yeah.
dance scene that's supposed to take place very clearly where everyone's set up facing him and they didn't do it. They put it in
Right.
bits at
Right.
the end or whatever, I think. But they were also, they were moaning about the kid aspect of it, and I think it's been a long, long time. If I think the mistake they made with Answer the Call was not passing the torch in any way, and I think that should be what happens. You know what I mean? Maybe this is a small event in Oklahoma, and that's fine, but there's a passing of the torch going on. Someone else is taking up the mantle, and I think that's kind of in-universe reboots. I think if you want to, you can do them over and over again. I think if you do them correctly, and they leave a better taste. If you want to get the most juice out of your reboot, which is you want people who are familiar with the franchise to come to see it, and you want people
Yeah.
and you want the new kids also to get into it.
Yeah.
They have to do that. I mean, they did that well with Star Trek, but if you just do a whole new thing, you can pull that off, but it's got to be real good.
Also, there is something fun, even as a grown-up, there is something fun about watching those kids' adventures, the Goonies style, Monster Squad style things, right? Because I think you get a different POV. Sure, Bill Murray was a child at heart when you're watching those movies, but that kids POV, that sense of excitement, like even from the glimpses we get in the trailer, like that fantastic scene, there's just such a perfect pure moment of cool when they're chasing the ghost in the ecto and the door flips open and she like comes out and the little rover comes down the bottom. It's just all
That's
all
the trap,
toys
right?
I want already. Yeah, exactly.
The trap, it's a
like
mobile
remote
trap.
control trap. Yeah.
I like as well the way they say that there's, which you went with the station wagon. It was the only one with an engine. So what are the other vehicles?
I know. I mean, okay, so if you haven't been following the comics, the Ghostbusters comics actually IDW has done. There's a rich mythology that's been built up over the comics, right? They've brought in the female Ghostbusters into the universe. They've crossed universes. They've actually got a team called the Ghost Smashers, which is what the original film was supposed to be called. They're like rivals to the Ghostbusters. Like they've got new vehicles, weapons, all kinds of things. So I wonder if they're gonna like have some fun with all of that mythology because it's just there to play with, or keep it completely separate. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah. So Afterlife, I'm looking forward to this. I'm just hoping our cinemas are open in time.
Thanksgiving.
Fingers crossed. That's November. It's enough time for everyone to get vaccinated.
Did you see that the Suicide Squad review embargo seemed to go up last night? But after midnight I started seeing
it's
headlines.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is it 100%? I thought it was slightly lower. I thought it was 98 or something. But
okay, because they do that thing on social media where they're like tomato reveal, and that graphic showed 100%, unless someone shat on it since.
Hello, Armand White dialing in.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Ghostbusters Afterlife. You can check out the trailer on YouTube. It's also on all of our social media pages. Goggler MY.
We're
Another
excited.
movie we're super excited. Another movie we really want to talk about is this new horror film called Lamb. It is by A24 Studios, which, let me say, is quickly becoming one of my favorite film studios because I don't think they've had a dud yet. They've done some great horrors: Hereditary, Midsommar. They did Green Knight, which is now showing in the United States with Dave Patel.
I've seen good reviews of that as well.
Very good reviews of that. And Lamb, I'm just going to read the synopsis because it sounds weird and surreal.
It's hard to explain.
It is actually very hard to explain, but it is essentially a childless couple played by Noomi Rapace and Hilmir Snar Gudnason. Forgive me if I've messed up your name, in rural Iceland make an alarming discovery one day in their sheep barn. They soon face the consequences of defying the will of nature in this dark and atmospheric folktale. The striking debut feature from director Vladimir Johansson.
Who also worked on the special effects of Rogue One and the Tomorrow War.
Wow, I did not know that. I also made another discovery. The film is co-written by a famous Icelandic poet by the name of Sjón, who I know very well.
Like
I
personally?
have no idea. Like personally, I brought him down for a festival. We interviewed him. He's become a friend, and now I'm going to email him and be like,
Yes.
"Hey, what's going
Yes.
on?"
Is he totally fucked up in the head?
Oh no, he's really cool because he's a poet, but he also does all kinds of cool things. He does all this. He does fiction. He does science fiction. He's multi-talented Renaissance man. Very smart guy. Yeah. But this sounds incredibly. It's like a lamb baby, right?
Yeah, it looks weird.
Yeah.
The trailer is Chef's Kiss. Like they have, was it God Only Knows What the Beach Boys plays with the on the beat, which is just, it only happens twice or three times. It's just enough that you're like, are they doing it on the beat? And they stop. You only ever see the lamb's face until there's one shot where it looks like,
One shot.
it looks like it's a person. And like, there's just some friend visits, and his face is all you see. And he's like, "What the hell is going on here?" And it captures that weird, just vibe that Hereditary and Midsommar had, right? It's just got weird.
And I love that it's not like a horror. There's so many horror feels in this, like the close-ups of the other lambs. They're judging them, I love that. Look, the close-up of the lamb sort of through the barn. That was beautiful. But there's a real feeling of dread and not fear, but just dread running through this trailer that I want to watch it as the not.
I was just going to say, is this the horror movie that Bahir's going to watch?
I'm so fucking excited for this one.
When we put it in the Slack and you were like, "Wow, I want to see this," it's like, "Wow, I guess here's the horror guy now."
It's not. It doesn't feel like a scream at you horror movie, right? Like I enjoyed Hereditary. This feels like
This feels like fucked up, twisted shit.
Yes. That's the kind of stuff I want.
So it's the slasher stuff and the jump scares doesn't bother you. You prefer instead crimes against nature and existential dread. Cool.
Yes. Nice. Yes. Yeah. I want that on a T-shirt. I prefer crimes of nature and then the back and existential thread. Yeah.
Like we haven't seen this. We don't know if it's ever going to come to Malaysia. But what it feels to me already like this is a movie you want to go into completely cold, right? It's like you want to avoid every article, every review.
Yeah, I'm done.
It feels like there's something there. Yeah. Like there's going to be some twist, some cool something.
And even in that trailer, there's that one quick shot of Numir Pace walking away from the camera, holding onto the hand of, we're assuming is the titular character.
Lamb boy. I don't know.
But even that, it's a quick shot, right? And for that, because I replayed it on the big TV for my wife, and at that point she turned to me and goes, "What did I just see?" Because you up to that point you think you know what this is until you see that shot and you go like, "Wait, what the fuck?" Right? And oh man, I love this trailer. I want to watch this movie.
I want to get the same reaction that the ripple that went through my friend group back home when they discovered Midsommar, because that's not the type of movie I would ever recommend to them or like that, and it rippled through them. I was like, "Oh, I'm thinking of watching this Midsommar," and then like don't, no, God, Jesus, no, don't do it. Like they were warning each other, like don't go.
I haven't seen that one actually. I should watch.
You still haven't seen Midsommar, no?
I haven't seen. I just haven't gotten around to it.
That's on Netflix, right, Ian? Or is it not?
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it's Netflix,
I wasn't sure if they got the rights to it.
Yeah, I had to buy the director's cut edition, which so I haven't seen the undirector's cut. But yeah, I think seeing that thread first, the WhatsApp thread first, made it bigger in my head. I had actually inserted more scenes of worse horror, which I got from this as well. But it's still like I was quite pleased with how messed up that movie is. So yeah. A24, it's here to fuck up your head completely.
Yeah.
A24 does some fantastic stuff.
Also, can I just say, I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about, just look up A24. Their lineup is amazing, right? Midsommar, Hereditary, okay, cool. Uncut Gems, Ladybird, Moonlight, mid-90s.
Yeah.
I still got to watch The Lighthouse. I haven't watched that yet. That's on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Did they do The Witch as well?
No, they did Ex Machina, On the Rocks, The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
They did Euphoria. The HBO series.
I still haven't watched High Life. I think High Life somewhere as well.
Yeah, I mean
they do Rami.
Yes, they did Rami. They were part of the production company for Rami. The new Val Kilmer documentary, Val, is them. The documentary on Apple TV, The Elephant Queen, is them. And they're not like Blumhouse, which feels we're mostly horror. Whereas this, they're
art house.
They are very, very, very wide, and I think they are a great studio to look out for. And I think, isn't A24 the one that's run by Bezos' daughter?
Who?
Oh, is it
I remember there's
Run by
one
who?
studio.
Jeff Bezos' daughter? I don't know.
Hang on,
Actually,
let's not.
Daniel
before we
Katz,
start
David
making
Finkel, and
stuff
John
up
Hodges.
on
No,
the podcast, yeah.
The founders of Daniel Katz, David Finkel,
sorry.
John Hodges.
I think Bezos' daughter is Annapurna.
Okay.
Yeah, they did Under the Silver Lake and The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which I've been really meaning to see as well.
Killing of Sacred Deer, I've seen. It is excellent.
Yeah?
It is not what you expect. It's very good.
Oh,
Yeah. A24 Lamb. Check out the trailer. We can't wait for this movie to come out. Yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
just like
can I-
I was just gonna say, just like Midsommar and even Hereditary. When I don't know how to recommend it to people, and most of the time, just like, no, it's a really good film. Ending may not work for you, but there is a moment, and when you get to it, you'll know it. And then, and usually I get text messages at that moment.
Yeah.
When it happens, I'm sure people are just like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah, I can remember the three of us sitting in the cinema, right?
The
And
cinema,
just like looking at
yeah.
each other like, no.
Looking at each other,
Yeah.
going, "Did that just happen?" No, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
We'll just wait and see what happens.
Also, I think it was look at each other, look at our watches, going like, it's only 20 minutes in. Where's this
it's
going?
early. Yeah. How are they going to do the movie? Sorry, just to sort of quick edit. Annapurna is founded by Megan Allison, the Larry Allison's daughter.
Larry
the guy
Allison's
that did
daughter. Oracle.
Oracle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to
Cool.
correct myself before I get taken out by Bezos' people.
My Bezos' people.
There's a Blue Origin satellite is homing in on your house
Beep,
right
beep,
now.
Beep. Yeah. All right. Let's get to this week's reviews. First up is a brand new movie on Netflix. This one's called Blood Red Sky. No, it's not snakes on a plane. It's vampires on a plane. Ta-da! And it is a movie that is in both German and English.
Mostly German.
Mostly German.
A little bit of Arabic.
and a little bit of Arabic, and
Yeah.
it's the kind of movie that, you look at it, you start watching it, and then after a few minutes you go, of course Dominic Purcell is in this film.
Mix last score.
I mean, his name is in the opening credits quite, because
Yeah.
the other names you have no idea, like, okay, I don't know who that is, Dominic Purcell's in this movie? And then it starts and you go, of course Dominic Purcell's in
And
this
he hasn't got a flame gun either. Like, I just assume this is another heist with the Legends of Tomorrow, right? He's still in the Legends of Tomorrow, right?
I think he is, but I think this might be his final season.
Oh, okay.
okay.
So it is a German film, and the plot is essentially about a group of terrorists that hijack an overnight transatlantic flight. And there is a woman who is mysteriously ill. She's on the plane with her son. She's heading to New York for some kind of treatment. And then everything kind of goes to shit after these terrorists take over, because it turns out her mysterious illness is evil vampirism.
This is the thing. I've been struggling with how do we talk about this, because it's number one in Netflix almost everywhere. So people are watching it because there's nothing else much to watch, I guess. So they've seen it. Most people have seen it, but like it goes through so many gear shifts that it's not a spoiler to say vamps get out, but then it changes in different ways. It's not. In no way does this ever go the way you're thinking it's going to go.
I was just going to say the same thing, because when I watched the trailer, I thought, oh man, did they just fuck it up and kind of ruin the surprise, right? However,
I thought it was a little bit predictable. It's like, okay, she seems to be wanting to fight against it, but then would she let the beast out? And it's okay. She let the beast out to take care of the terrorists, maybe to save her son. Okay, I can see that happening. Could be fun. 3 stars. Fuck that. No.
It's not, right? and the vampiric surprise happens very quick, like 15 minutes into this film. And then it's just twist and turn after another. I mean, the basic concept of the movie, and I quite enjoy movies like this, it's the whole Passenger 57, what's the Jodie Foster one?
Turbulence?
No. Same
Turbulence
thing.
is the Ray
Jodie
Liotta
Foster,
one.
her son is missing and she doesn't know.
It's not Red Eye either. I can go through all the other ones, not that one.
Oh, anyway, yes, but it's all.
But she designed the plane on Jodie Foster, right?
Correct. She designed the plane, and no one believes that she has a son, etc., etc. But it's very interesting because they have to work within this confined space, and that's what I thought Blood Red Sky does exceptionally well. Apart from pulling off those twist after twist after twist, they reuse the same spaces over and over again, and yet make it different every time. Like when they go into the cargo hold, you see a car there. They don't use the car at first,
Yeah,
and
you're
then
like,
they come
why?
back
Okay,
to it.
did they
Why
give
is
them
there
the
a
car?
Mercedes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They used the car 3 times, right?
Yeah.
They come back
but in
to
different ways, right?
in different ways, and you're right. That was and that's sort of a very it's very clever writing. You know, you
Yeah.
build in all these sort of little beats. It's not just oh, okay, so what can we put in here to make this moment difficult or cool? It feels like it's written in that they keep coming back to the car, they keep coming back to the cargo hold, they keep coming back to the galley.
But then they change it, right? Because the lighting is different.
The lighting is different.
Everything
Yeah.
changes with every scenario that takes place. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, but it's not even
and
just
you
that.
get-
Like, this is smart all the way down, because it's not just that, like, oh, they're using this space good, because, you know, this is where I usually get my high horse about, you know, foreign movies using their budget well. There's a whole series of flashbacks and different things going on that are set elsewhere that are like beautifully designed and look amazing and have this beautiful. I mean, it's German, right? But it's got that Scandinavian feel, right?
Northern
Yeah.
German kind of thing. Yeah, I just want to what you brought that up, Ian, and I want to ask: would this film have been the same, better, worse without the flashbacks? Because I felt the flashbacks were unnecessary because the weight of the main character and her, what's the word I'm looking for, her wants,
Struggle.
no,
Yeah.
but her purpose in the movie is very clear. Her son's in
Because it's
danger.
it's a wants versus needs from scriptwriting classes, right?
Yeah, right. So because I felt every time they go to flashback, I'm not necessarily thrown out of it, but I'm slowed down. The pace
That's
is
interesting.
so good.
I found them to be a nice break. I found they kept it
Oh.
fresh instead of keeping everything, you know, because you see at times she
Right.
loses her run of herself and she's like scrabbling across the seats and stuff like that.
Mm.
And I thought they would have run out of ways to fill those moments with different inventive fight scenes or whatever in the cabin, even
Right.
though it all looks great. And as I kept thinking,
Yeah.
oh, they're using their budget well, then I'm like, oh God, that guy really looks like he's really messed up. The makeup is amazing. They have money on
Yeah.
this. This is not a low budget
Yeah.
film by the looks of things.
Yeah.
So I felt that those were nice breaks, and also they fill in a little bit more about the background that you need for the third act, where there is this idea of don't let it spread.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that kind of escalation really worked as well, because in typical fashion, there's always one real asshole terrorist. And I think the evolution of that character,
Yes.
it worked in the same way that the Tomorrow War worked with the bad guys. By the time you reach the end of the movie, you are so pissed off at this one guy, and you want him to go down. And I love it when movies incite that kind of reaction, because then you know you've got a real villain, right? You've got someone that the audience just absolutely despises.
Yeah. He
Also,
was absolutely fantastic. He was like, they just told him, everyone else is being super efficient, super planned out, super
Yep.
cool. You can just be the Joker. I was
Yeah.
like, you sure? Am I doing too
Gonna
much?
say.
No, go bigger.
Go bigger.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go crazier.
And-
Go nuts.
And I love the introduction of the guy, right? Because when you first see him, you go like, oh, he's gonna be the first one they kill, or he's gonna be the dramatic one. He's gonna be the difficult hostage. No. He's the problem on the other side, and that was great.
Yeah.
That was really I enjoyed that.
I have to say, I didn't know who she was before this, but Perry Baumeister, who plays the mom, is absolutely fantastic. Like, there is this way that she kind of balances the problem she has with like her motherly instincts throughout the film. It's a constant conflict for her, and it is so good. Like, I think she's a German TV actress, so I've never really seen her in much, but
She's
this just
also,
blew me away.
you look at her IMDb profile and she's unrecognizable, because in this she has like a bald cap on completely, and a different kind of
Well,
wig.
it's also in her eyes. Like when she goes feral.
Feral,
you can tell when she start and she can switch from feral to recognizing the son, or realizing that the son is someone that needs to be saved. I think that was some really great acting. I think.
Yeah, because if you haven't seen this, like, there's no romanticism about this vampirism. It is
No.
nasty as hell, and they don't.
Yeah.
It could have come off. I think it reminded me a little bit of Blade in the way that the vampires and that, like, we've seen so many vampire things where someone hisses at the camera and it can look goofy as hell, and it never felt that way in this. Like, she gives this twitchy, almost addict chic
Mm,
performance
yeah.
at times, where
That's
she's just shaking
great
her head
description,
and glancing around and fighting with herself, and it really, really works. It's an incredibly
Yeah.
physical performance.
Yeah.
And even the other guys, right?
Hmm.
Even the other vampires, in the ones you see in the flashbacks as well. There isn't the sense that vampires are demonic and naturally evil. There seems to be like that mythology is up in the air in this film, and I quite like that because
Mm,
you don't know how someone is going to turn and what they're going to use, right? All you know is that this mother somehow has this anchor, which is her son. And the kid's fantastic as well because
And
he
the
knows the whole story. So he's constantly like just looking at her going, "It's me, calm the fuck down," right?
mm.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Ian?
yeah, there is they do have this cider bean. There is like there's this they have while they go into the flashbacks to tell how she became a vampire. There's also this other level they never really feel the need to explain, which is that there are doctors treating her, and there is a medicine they're giving her for something, and it doesn't sound like it never feels like they're giving her medicine for something else. They're not giving her ivermectin or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like she is circumventing things. She's found something in those flashbacks that seems to allay some of the symptoms but not cure it.
Yeah.
And that was
and
quite interesting, I thought. I mean, that leaves them open for sequels. I thought they were going to leave it open in sequels at one point when they open a door, literally, but then I guess that guy doesn't happen.
I was just going to say, I think that mythology and world building kind of works because this is a very self contained story, but there's still enough in the mythology that I want to know more about. I mean, the medicine being one thing. And I think that's where the flashbacks, the Doctor in New York, I think that's where the flashbacks kind of work.
Doc
for
Brown.
me. Doc
Brown.
Marty, you're a vampire!
Ronald Reagan is president. The
Trump,
actor,
the guy from TV!
Where do you get the
God,
Brown
this
from?
is heavy!
but also I think the flashbacks feel a little necessary in movies like this because I don't know how long an audience
Would stay in the
can
plane.
take. If it's like a 2.5 hour movie or 2 hour and 5 minute
Yeah.
movie, they did it in, I think, an Executive Decision. Remember, even Passenger 57, they always take you off the plane just for a little bit.
Passenger
Air
57
Force
did a good
One.
bit off the plane, didn't they? They had like the third
Yeah,
act
they
to
did.
chase him down.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Even Air
Julian
Force
Sands,
One.
that guy who looks like Julian Sands, wasn't it? Was the bad guy?
I can't remember who the bad guy was. It's been a long
Blonde
time since I've seen
guy,
that film.
always squints.
Oof, I can't remember.
Either way, always bet on black. You can't mention Passenger 57 without always betting on black.
The Jodie Foster movie was called Flight Plan. That's what it was. And so I think the flashbacks work to kind of break that suspense up in a little bit or break the monotony up of being stuck in a plane. The other thing I enjoyed about Blood Red Sky was the side characters and the kind of secondary stories because they didn't, whenever shows do that, or suddenly you'll have an air stewardess or one of the passengers and you learn about their story, it always feels a little gratuitous, like they needed to fill time somehow. Meanwhile, I thought all of this kind of like in the build up towards that climax, in things preventing each one from getting to their goal, I thought all of that really worked.
Yeah, I mean, every character seemed well sketched out. This is a brutally efficient movie, but every piece works beautifully together, from the casting to just the performances. There's red herrings thrown all over the place. There's a pilot who's a bit rude to a hostess, and you're like, oh, okay, what a dick. He's the dickhead guy, right? They're obviously having a relationship. That's what's going to happen there. Nope, something else is going on. Interesting. The dynamic within the terrorists as well. They're very different. I don't know if they're trying to do different terrorists in different movies, but like Dominic Purcell is the ruthlessly efficient guy. One guy's tall. That seems to be his superpower. One guy seems to be just like muscle. One guy just seems to forget to put on the top of his escape outfit for the whole thing. Carl. But like they stick with you. Like
he just wants to show off his tats.
Yeah, but like they stick with you. Poor Mrs. Ingvar. What happened there. There's things that all these little things go together, and I just love the fact that it's multiple movies in one movie as well. Like when we get those flashbacks, is like horror in the woods. This plane is the terrorist thing. Then you've got something else, and then the third act is a completely different movie. And I come back to what you're saying about the vampires, like what they're going to do. Like it is a disease, and I think that containment element of it, like it's an outbreak movie at the end. And there's one slight bit of unrealism when they say, "Oh, uncuff him," because that would never happen to a man of that ethnicity at an airport under those circumstances.
Who's run out into the middle of the airfield.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. take the kid out. Very dark
No,
ending.
but you see, but I will say that they were very clear in say in signposting that they didn't land in the U.S. In the U.S., that
Oh,
would
yes.
absolutely fucking happened.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
maybe in
this looks like
Scotland.
Yeah, McNower or Scotland, then
I-
yeah, definitely that's
yeah,
maybe the
so
case.
maybe they're a little more lenient. But yeah, no,
But
you're
yeah, just
right.
those it just made those tone changes and those plot changes effortlessly, and you didn't mind her freaking out and then switching back.
Yeah.
It's just really good. It's this year's Into the Night.
Yeah.
It is.
But
I mean,
one great
say,
plane movie a year. Love it.
I want to say it's not been doing too well on Twitter. A lot of people are not enjoying it. They're and I don't know why. And I mean
Maybe
the
they're not
only
paying
thing-
attention because this is a movie that you shouldn't be looking down because it is working so well. Like it deserves to be watched.
Yeah, but I think also because it's not a straightforward vampire on a plane movie.
Yeah.
You know, this is a little more complicated, and like you say, Ian, there's a lot of things going on here. There's a lot of little sort of, you know, bits of information that they drop along the way, and I get what you're saying about the flashbacks. I wasn't a fan of them, but I know why they're there. As opposed, except of, and not just as an excuse to get off the plane, but just to move the story along and give weight to everything that happens. I think that bit where the bit where she comes home late at night in one of the flashbacks, she comes home late at night and you can hear the neighbor saying, is everything okay? Your baby's been crying for 2 hours. And it sort of shows that idea that she's struggling with this transformation that she's going through. She's trying to keep a normal life together.
I think the trailer might have done the movie a bit of disservice, right? Because just going back to what you were saying, Ian, about how ruthlessly efficient the film is, there is a lot of drama. I would call this more of a drama than an action thriller. Meanwhile, if you watch the trailer, that's why I made that comparison in the beginning. You think Snakes on the Plane, but with vampires. And yes, that element is there. And I think that's what I enjoyed about the movie so much, because when the action stuff kicks in, all of it is earned and it feels so in world, right?
Yeah,
like
it doesn't feel just like a cool moment between a fight between a vampire and a passenger. Yeah,
exactly. And I think the trailer might have done it some disservice, because I think when people are watching the film, I think they may be expecting a mindless action thriller.
Yeah, and Snakes on a Plane came up a lot. You know, there were a lot of comparisons were like, oh, a lot of people saying, oh, Snakes on a Plane was better, or that, you know, that was more. That was
different movie altogether.
It's a different movie altogether. Yeah.
Well, I was to paraphrase what Kevin Smith was saying on his Fat Man Beyond podcast when we were talking about He-Man. He thought like, oh, look at all this bad press we're getting on Twitter and everything else. He's saying to Netflix, are we in trouble? Like, is this bad? And they're like, Kevin, there's like 5,000 to 10,000 people on Twitter are annoyed. It's like, does that mean we're okay? He says, you're safe. You're safe as kids.
We're not going to tell you the number, but you're safe.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if it is trending at #1 on Netflix, in most places in the world, the movie's doing quite well, right?
Yeah. I had a quick look this morning on that site that lists them all, and it was one in an awful lot of territories. So yeah.
Cool.
No, we definitely recommend this film. I mean, it is something different. It is something new. It has some. It's weird. I was trying to think of how to describe this film, and for me, it's got some European sensibilities, but merged with like some Hollywoodness as well. Because like the beginning of the film feels very Hollywood, and then the bits of drama in the plane feel very European.
Do you know what it is, Uma?
What is it?
It's Into 30 Days of Night. Into the 30 Days of Night. Sorry, it's Into the Night. Because I don't know, is it the same plane from Into the Night?
That's pretty good. I'm sorry, Ian. I'm going to jump in and just sort of ruin your flow, but that's pretty good.
I like that. But it is that perfect blend, right? Because it does feel like Into the Night. I'm convinced it's the same plane. Is it the same plane? It's either that same plane or it's the same plane from 7500, right? There's only so many full plane mock-up sets. They didn't build this, I don't think. There's some you can hire. You just redress it. So it just reminded me how much I'm waiting for Into the Night season 2.
Yeah, that's a go-ahead. So, I mean, I think
it's been a go-ahead since last year, but there's been nothing.
Yeah. So, but no, Blood Red Sky, we highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's streaming on Netflix. If you're a fan of vampires and the mythology, this one will not let you down. And it's got some nice moments of scares as well. Yeah, it's not scary, but it's got moments that'll keep you at the edge of your seat and tense. So I like that.
Bring it back to the car again. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no. And then you find the lighter, and then it's like, oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh yes, yeah.
All right. Let us know what you think of Blood Red Sky. When you've seen it, you can reach out on all the usual places. Goggler MY is our social media channels. Also, Goggler podcast at goggler.my for our email. You can also WhatsApp us on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. We are going to wrap the live stream now as to not get into trouble by breaking any embargoes. And then we will talk about The Last Mercenary, which is the new Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, which you can check out on the podcast, which will drop on Friday at 3 p.m. Malaysian time when the embargo lifts. All right. Thank you so much for listening. This is
and you
the
can find the
Goggler
podcast where you can find the podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Android Podcasts,
everywhere
Amazon
you get your
Podcasts,
podcasts. Or just, whatever podcast app you use, it'll be there. Just search for the Goggler podcast. All right. Thank you so much for listening. This is